Hello, Strong and Simple family. Welcome to 2023. I hope that your holiday season was as relaxing as possible. I hope that you feel more rested, and I hope for you that 2023 feels welcoming and exciting and a bit expansive, if that makes sense. I feel like there is this huge pendulum swing away from New Year's resolutions, and the argument can be said that resolutions don't work. And true. Resolutions are a statement. I will do X. I will be Y, right? And the problem with resolutions, and why I guess we could say that they don't work, is that there's no real plan behind just a resolution. So if we reframe resolutions as goal setting, probably more likely to have more success with them. There is also, in the anti-diet world, this feeling against New Year's resolutions because of the very strong messaging about New Year, New You. People tend to wait to start new habits for fitness routines and nutrition habits and things like that until the new year. It's like waiting for Monday. And the idea is if this is something that's for life, you don't need to wait until a Monday or January 1st or anything like that. And you can just be holding yourself back. And I understand all of that psychologically, but also there is something that is so enticing about a clean slate. It's a fresh calendar. Brand new calendar, never been written in, right? It's a restart to maybe some habits have fallen to the wayside as life has gotten busier. And typically, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it's winter. And even if you are in Florida, right, it's colder than usual. So there's something about, and I'm sorry if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and it's summertime, you might just be feeling the opposite of this. But for me, the cold air brings about a sense of focus and clarity and freshness. It's like refreshing. Obviously, I'm not standing outside in like 0-degree weather, but I've always enjoyed when I was still running. I enjoyed winter running when it's not icy. I actually feel I've very much fallen out of my habit, and I've already talked about this with you a bit, of my daily walks. I'm actually excited to restart some daily walking again, to work that back into my schedule, particularly taking my walk breaks at work, to really force myself, to be honest, to take a lunch break each day. Because if I don't leave the building, I just get caught up in doing other things. It's this perpetuation of the busyness cycle. And that's an episode for another day. So when we're thinking about the New Year's resolutions and whether they're good or bad or somewhere in between, there is something really powerful, whether you do it at New Year's or you do it on some random day in March or in the middle of July, if you do it on Christmas Day, whatever, there's something really powerful about taking some time to reflect on what has been working well for you, reflect on what are some challenges that make you feel not so great, and to set some intentions to move forward. And this is a really powerful practice that people oftentimes do with the moon cycles. So a monthly reflection and intention setting that can be really, really powerful to anchor you And I think what's important here is with a New Year's resolution is if you are choosing to do that, to make it like the resolution is more of your intention. And oftentimes the resolution is something very grandiose, right? And it's just, I want to stop smoking. I want to lose 50 pounds. I want, right? And it might be something very extreme, but there's nothing wrong with thinking big and having big intentions. So essentially a resolution is a most of large intention, right? The important piece with a New Year's resolution, if you're going to make that or any sort of resolution or intention setting, is to not skip over the reflection part. And that actual writing down, or if you prefer to speak your words into, if you use like text, speech to text or recording software or anything like that, getting your reflections on the year or the month or whatever out, because that gives you the space to think critically about what is working well, what is not working so well, and also gives you a baseline for your intention setting. So, for instance, for me, my reflection is I have not been going for daily walks. This is because I have been more busy. It's gotten cold out. Yes, I technically do get between 5,000 and 7,000 steps a day due to the nature of my job and my life with minimal effort, right? However, the daily walk of 15 to 30 minutes, being outside, away from a screen. Oftentimes I listen to a podcast or a book on tape, but I also try to take some walks without distraction. So I'm actually, it's almost like a walking meditation, a mindfulness walk, right? I'm getting the sights, I'm getting the sounds of my surroundings, right? So I'm reflecting on what I'm missing from those daily walks. And now I know that my intention is to start my daily walks again. Now, I'm calling them daily walks, but my plan for my actual goal to make this measurable, which is also very important in goal setting, is to do this 4 out of the 7 days a week. Because my reflection, I have not gone for a walk, an intentional walk, since September or October. So to say that I'm all of a sudden going to go and do this every day is probably not achievable for me right now and could potentially be setting me up to, quote unquote, fall off track and then feel discouraged and then just not do it, right? So if we want to switch our language here, 9 minutes into this episode, when we're thinking about a New Year's resolution, we are setting intentions, which we can then take those intentions and make them into goals, right? And when we are goal setting, when we're intention setting, it's important to have a reflection to give us some baseline information. And in the education world, it's our current performance level, right? When I'm writing IEPs for students, I'm thinking about what can they currently do now or what are they doing now? And then the goal is what is that next step to help them progress, right? So, and I do this with my fitness clients too. There's a lot of overlap between the education world and being a trainer. And being a coach. So, you know, you do your reflection, you find that like where you're currently at, thinking about how these things make you feel, I firmly believe that having a why for your goal makes it more connected to you in your everyday life, which then on the days when you feel not motivated or don't want to do something, you can then kind of dig in and say, well, I know that I'm going to go back to my walk example here. Being outside for 10 to 15 minutes makes me feel more focused. It makes me feel more clear. It makes me happier. And in the wintertime, that's especially important when we can feel very cooped up inside. And for somebody with a history of depression and anxiety, that's kind of a tricky little loop that I can get myself into, never leaving the house. So by remembering that why and knowing that it doesn't have to be this big insurmountable, like I don't have to go for 10,000 steps. Just get outside for 10 minutes. Just move for 10 minutes, right? That digging into that why for something that's really internal, more so than the like external reasonings that we are so often thinking that we need to have, like weight loss or aesthetics. And again, if that's a goal of yours to have, thinking about your why for that weight loss and aesthetics is going to get you further than only measuring your progress in inches and pounds. Okay. I'm just going to put that caveat there. If that is a goal or a resolution for you to have this year, I highly encourage you to really dig into your why for that weight loss or aesthetic change, because that is going to give you better emotional hook to incorporate the habits and the behaviors that you can actually control. Which leads me to my next part. So you have reflected, you have set your intentions or your goals based on your why, based on where you're currently at. Your goals should be measurable so that you know if you're making progress or not. And these measures should be things that you can control. I currently drink 1 glass of water a day. My goal is to drink 2 glasses of water a day. Each day you drink a glass of water, you can check it off. You know you've made progress. So maybe next week you're going to try to drink 2.5 or 3 glasses of water. Okay. You're progressively challenging yourself to drink more water. You're not going from no glasses of water a day to 10 glasses of water a day. Like that's not a habit that's going to last if you go from 0 to nothing. Same thing with working out. If you currently work out 0 days a week, saying you're going to work out 7 days a week for an hour is not going to be sustainable. Okay. So you've reflected, you have where your current performance is, and you have some general goals. You're going to want to make them measurable. You're going to want to make them challenging but achievable. Do not overshoot yourself here. And this might take a little tweaking, which then comes into that spiraling back to the reflection part, so that you know where, if you need to peel those goals back a little bit, readjust, or move them a little bit more challenging for you. It's also important when you're setting goals for yourself, resolutions for yourself, right? That you're being honest with the accessibility of time, equipment, energy that you have available for those goals. I'm going to say that again. It's important that as part of your reflection and therefore goal setting, that you are honestly looking at the accessibility of time, energy, space, equipment, support that you have when you're creating these goals. So I like to think of this as looking for areas of opportunity and potential barriers in this kind of system of setting these goals for yourself. And then that cycle continues. We're reflecting, we're adjusting, and this is why it's important to think about seasons of life too, and what our goals are for ourselves, particularly in wellness, particularly in fitness, particularly in nutrition, because we all go through seasons of life where we have more time, more energy, or less time, less energy, more space for certain things and less space for certain things. And when we're talking about a sustainable fitness, nutrition, wellness practice to enhance our lives, that's really important to have seasonality in our goal and intention setting. So this is a mini-sode, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I do have a goal setting workbook available if you are interested in having something to kind of guide you as you work through this process. If you are somebody who wants to participate in resolution setting, if you want to set some goals for yourself for January, for the winter, or for overall 2023, right? I do think it's also important if you are thinking about resolutions for 2023 to then break it down into quarters, months, weeks to kind of bridge yourself to that larger goal, right? Like, so to say, I want to deadlift 400 pounds in 2023, that could be achievable for me in 2023, but I'm going to have to look at each season, each month of what my training is then going to look like to cycle me through healthy ways to get me to 400 pounds in my deadlift, right? So also breaking it down into achievable chunks is also important. So this workbook, I'll link it in the show notes below. It's in the link in my bio. If that is useful for you, please, it's free to download. And if you are also looking for some support with goal setting, if you are looking for support with your fitness and nutrition habits, I'm not going to sell you if you've been listening for a while on this idea of New Year, New You, which is why I didn't do a lot of promotion in December for things, but I do have some spots for one-on-one and or small group training. I do have some openings for Straight Up Strong coming up. You can try the first month for February if that's something that you're interested in. I'm going to be sending out, or actually, because this will be released on Tuesday, I sent out the live drop-in class schedule. There's some kettlebell stuff. There's some yoga classes. There's mobility with Coach Jesse. That's all on the calendar. So if you're not on the Strong Sunday newsletter with me and Coach Tina, just reach out to me at strongandsimplepodcast@gmail.com or at michellefarrellcoaching.com. And I can send you that calendar, come take a class, or set up a discovery call with me to see what ways of working with me could be, really helpful to you in 2023. So with that, hope this was useful for you. I hope that you are feeling invigorated and excited for the possibilities of this year. And if you are setting goals this year, I hope that this was useful and helpful to you. And with that, talk to you soon. All right, over and out, everybody. Bye.